What's good, everyone? My name is Melcha, and I'm going to adjust my microphone here. Okay. Should be good just about. Okay. Great, so today we're going to go over Shy Guy Bazaar. Got myself a brand new sort of capture card here, of which we're going to go over pretty much every aspect of the stage. Go over some world record time trial strats in addition to some things you can pull up in lobby, worldwides, and a knockout tour. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. This is a new format to me, so I'm just going to be sort of going to be a ramble, a little bit of a off the cuff sort of video. So let's just see. Let's just restart here. The first thing I'm going to do is go over, I guess, just one lap essentially, which is one way we can play the track. And we're going to go over pretty much everything about what we're going to see here. Hope I don't mess anything up. Pressure is getting to my head here. It's okay if you hit that guy, it's okay. And this is just sort of the line that I like to take. Like lobby, for example. So I'm just going here extremist, so I would have ideally landed on that rail, but this is a good sort of, what do you even call it? This is a good place to start, essentially. Just running into things now, and I'm actually going to go over while I'm here some additional strats you can go over in lobby, for example, so you can take this route. And this is a sort of alternate way to take this route, depending on the situation. Drive over here. This is more of a time trials route, I will say. Okay, so let's go over. I like to start here. We're going to start at this area, and basically start here. If you're practicing, let's go over the beginner strats first, and then we're going to gradually get to harder and harder strats. So, first things first, when you're going over here, what you don't want to do is sort of go really here, no matter what. This is pretty slow, all things considered. The easiest thing you can do is just go over this sort of terrain here, and trick off of these paths, which is great. Of course, get some mini turbo boosts here. This next part is really good in lobby and worldwides, because if we go back to this rail over here, since day one everyone knows that this rail is the new hotness, you know, world record is on this right rail, but in lobby specifically, it's pretty hard to get on this rail actually, or else you might just bounce on someone and get a lot of airtime. So for beginners and pros, just come over here and take this sort of cut like normal. Grab this rail, do a trek, and sort of get some boosts over here. You get right in square in front of the item box, that's pretty good. This particular turn, you actually just want to get a blue mini turbo, which is found to be faster, the most recent world record. So that's cool, I guess. And then, yeah, let's just go over a pretty easy lap, sort of beginner lap if you're first starting this stage. You want to try to get a bump here on this right place. Charge up your charge jump. Land here, do a couple tricks, and then land here. You can get the double item box even. And go down here and actually trick on that branch, right? Now, I said I'd go over the beginner stuff first, but that was actually sort of an intermediate trick. If you're, super starting the level, starting to learn this, just go straight, I guess. Do some down tricks, that's one way to do it. And another way you can do it, and this one's the easiest version, just go over here, do a bunch of down tricks. Get on this, because if you get on that purple boost panel, get some speed. Next, let's go over some sort of intermediate tricks here. Trick on this one, don't trick on that, trick on this one. Trick like that, oh, forgot I was on the third lap. Oh well. We are going to restart the level and actually go over some sort of time trial and the world record strategies here. It's going to be pretty cool. So if you're here, sort of in lobby, you can hold to the right and then get your mini turbos, your beginning boost, I should say. There's a little hill over here. Trick on this hill here. There's a couple things you need to know about this particular one. If you want, you can just... And this one has varying levels of sort of mini tricks as well, which I'm going to go over. So this is the probably easiest way of going through this particular section of the track. Just sort of hang out and do this turn, right? So if you can do it, you're feeling pretty nervous, you can sort of do that sort of trick. One other thing you can do is get a trick here, get a trick down here, trick over there, get a trick over there, and this wall in a particular area, which I did not do. Let's try it again. This part's actually pretty tough. Shy Guy Bazaar gets picked a lot in lobbies, so you actually want to make sure that you grind this one out a good amount. This particular version of the trick, I should say, because it's a good amount of time. So there I messed it up, but that's one thing that you could do. Not mess it up, I mean. We're going to, trust me, we're going to go over this trick in great detail here. It's just something we need to warm up here. There we go. And don't trick off that, and then just cut off that corner, which is really fast. So let's go over the beginner version of this trick. I would say this is intermediate at this point. So, you know, try to get onto this place as best as you can. I'm going to, let me just, what am I going to do here? Oh. I did not want to capture my screen, I want to do this in fact. So, we're actually going to look at the geometry of this particular rail here. Because depending on the geometry of this rail is when you want to actually jump off. Let's get a good, better sort of... So I'm coming up this rail here. Basically this whole entire section, don't even think about sort of... Can I... If you're back here, don't even think of tricking. There's actually a good indicator. So there's a little bit of a hill here. There's a little bit of a hill over here. And this is a good reference point where you need to know where to jump. Don't trick on this portion, but you want to trick on this portion here. Now, you might think to yourself, well, this seems really precise. I'm going to mess up. But when you really think about it, if you're coming from here, the hill that you need to trick on is actually very pronounced, which is really good for us. And as you sort of notice, this is one of the easier portions of the trick, because you can get onto this rope over here every time if you make sure to focus on this particular portion. Good. So once you're on this rail, and let me not do the tricks here. Let me not do the tricks here, because it's just the so getting your feet wet here. As you can see, I jump off and I go exactly where I want to be. Next comes this rope. And this rope, let me actually... I keep not doing the thing that I want to do. Okay. So this rope, it's pretty important that you actually jump at a very specific place on the rail. So let's focus on my camera here. You actually don't want to trick anywhere near this portion where this is perpendicular. It's going to be pretty bad news, so you don't want to do that. You also don't really want to trick over here. So between this portion and this portion, you kind of don't want to trick. You want to trick somewhere around here, right? This is a sweet spot. And this is actually a little bit more precise and it takes a lot of practice to get the actual sort of timing correctly here. I kind of use this fire a little bit as my visual cue, because if you look at it from above, if you look at this fire from above, it sort of gives you the inkling of where you need to trick. So if you think about it, where this fire, the tip of the, I guess it's called a torch, meets this rope, that's where you want to trick. So let's go ahead and see what that actually looks like in motion here. So again, I'm tricking on that, a bit early here, and that's how we get onto this rail. I'll actually go over this one. This is another alternative way, in case you do what I did essentially. Don't worry, we're getting to that corner jump. So if you're here, and again, you can just sort of, again, beginner strat, you can just sort of lose some air, do some tricks here, and that's your beginner strat. Easiest pie, just go around this corner, and you're good to go. So, I will say, that's the beginner strat that I want to teach. The next strat I want to teach is the one we were just talking about, in fact, the one on the world record strat. The world record, lobby, worldwide, whatever have you, advanced strat. Is this one right here. So a couple moving parts. We've already established we want to trick. I think I was a little bit yeah, sort of trick around this spot, right? Kind of the good sweet spot. And the good news is you just want to hold right there. Hold right until you get to the end of the wall and then trick left. So here I'm just holding right. Well, I did it correctly that time. Let me go back. Yeah, just hold right and trick left. Once you get onto this railing, you immediately want to get off of it. Like, you do not want to be on this railing for long at all. So pretty much as soon as you get in contact with it is when you want to, you know what I'm talking about. Trick left is what I mean to say. Rail detach left. So let's see it again. These don't really matter, but once you get the hang of it, you will go for it. Now, for world records, I noticed that some people like to trick before they land on the rail, so that they don't sort of bounce off like I just did there. That's one thing that you could do. Let's see if I can do it here. Sometimes it just messes me up like that, which is why I don't like to go for it. Again, we're going for world records specifically. Kind of have to go for it, but if you're just doing it in lobby, then it's fine. So once you get onto this rail here, again, good news is you can get to this rail just normally, essentially. If you sort of miss this in a worldwide setting, just sort of get back onto this rail, which is the fastest path. You want to trick when this path straightens out around this sort of corner. Try not to do it too early, so trick around there is the safest way to do it. Again, if you want to go as fast as possible, you want to go like this, but and when I say go like this, I mean trick off of this blue curtain. I don't like to, just because makes the alignment coming up pretty hard, but yeah. Okay, so let's sort of move on. I'm gonna restart, just get to the very beginning here. The next sort of portion of the skip is all vibes for the most part. Or the very beginning, world record wise, or you want to go for the fastest strat wise, you trick that left here, trick right rather, and trick down there. So that's one thing that you could do. And then this is pretty much the most important portion of the trick, because if you mess it up, then you can lose a lot of time. So, we're going to start from here whenever you want to practice the trick. Well, if I possibly can start from here. And basically sort of get over here. You want to line up over here, essentially. So, we're going to look at our tire marks here. We're going to look at our tire marks. Let's go back a little bit. So we look at our tire marks. So to zoom in, then zoom out. So when we notice we're coming over here, we take a pretty wide line. If you look at this carpet over here, we actually don't want to go to the left, to the right of this carpet. I guess depends on your perspective. If you're looking at this perspective, it's the right of the carpet, which is why I'm calling it the right, even though it's the left in this picture. But you essentially want to take a pretty wide turn here, just for the safest line. When you get better and better at this trick, you want to go, closer and closer to the carpet's middle. But when you're first starting out, just start, sort of this area here. Now, as you can see, I sort of go to the middle in a line here because I'm pretty comfortable with that. But again, if you're sort of starting out learning it, actually, no, one of the attempts I was over here, essentially drifting. And as you can see, we can actually use this carpet as another visual indicator, where I sort of let go of my drift boost and start my charge jump. When I let go of my drift around here, start my charge jump around here, right? So, let's actually look at this corner jump one more time. And we're going to see what makes or breaks this trick. Again, sort of looking at this trick, see what you can notice about this trick before you sort of learn it. Give it a few tries. Maybe come back to this video and see what we can learn. But if you want to sort of fast track it here, here's what essentially happens. And you sort of see the visual indicator here. And this is the angle that you want to go into this trick at, essentially. If you go into this trick, in another angle, like you can take it sharper if you're going for like a really good time trial, but I like to just take it safe and do it like this. There are two methods of getting this trick, and I'm only going to show the first one really in this video. So first what you want to do is actually let go of your charge jump. Well, you want to start charging your charge jump around this corner, which is why we take the corners so wide. But what we actually want to do as well is release our charge jump around here and aim for this sort of side of the brick over here. If you're sort of looking at it from Pauline's perspective, you don't see where you need to aim here. If you aim for this side of the brick that you can see, you're probably going to fail the trick, which you don't want to do. Which is why you sort of have to have some foresight and aim for this portion of the brick. And you can sort of see it if you sort of line it up with this black line. You see it sort of, I'm sort of aiming to this brown portion of the wall, the ground over here. So that's one thing. Step one, you release your charge jump over here. And let me see if I can actually get this in motion here, because this is going to be pretty crucial. Kind of messed that one up there a little bit. This is, no, it's not hard. I just have to use my brain here for a second. So, no, I know why it's hard. So, actually, I can do here. So, right about here, when you're at this portion of the track, you're going to notice that your character is in a trick animation. And when they're in the trick animation, you actually have a lot of height. But we want to get a little bit of height from our charge jump. And we want to sort of take it up here a little bit. But we actually want to lose our height at a certain point by doing a down trick. So here's what that looks like in motion. I'm going to call it out as best as I can here. What you essentially want to do is do the trick and immediately trick down like that. And what you're going to notice is, it's hard to sort of rewind during this new setup. This is a new setup to me, sorry about that. But essentially what you're going to notice is around this portion, there's actually a really good visual indicator. Well, first of all, you can sort of see Pauline tricking into the ground and into the sort of portion of the... This is actually really good. This shows you exactly where you want to aim, which is great. But also, see how I'm tricking downwards here? This is me losing height with my vehicle, so that's one thing. Another thing is around this portion of the wall, if you're doing this in lobby, you're going to notice that your character isn't like... Pauline is like a singing animation with her sort of trick, essentially. But when you're in the middle of that trick animation is when you want to down trick, right? And after that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Can I do this? Okay. So, actually, let's go ahead and go over this one more time just to troubleshoot a little bit with regards to some issues you might face. When learning this trick, there are going to be 3 different roadblocks. Angle. What are the 3 roadblocks again? I forgot. The angle, the trick, and the actually 4 different things. Let me point them out. First, this sort of, and this is the easiest thing to sort of avoid, is this rail over here. This rail is evil. It's going to pretty much ruin your trick if you get onto it. So you want to not get too close to this portion of the track. So keep that in mind. Next thing is, if you're going for like really good like world records or time trials, you actually want to hit this wall and then down trick from there. But I find that really hard and inconsistent to go for. So try to avoid this wall. That's the second thing that you want to avoid. It's a pretty common sort of issue as well. If you do hit the wall, just try your best to save face and down trick. You're going to lose some time if you hit that wall. The next thing we talked about in a lot of detail is the actual angle you need to get at. Yep. See if we can get some frames here, some funny frames. So, this is pretty much the good angle that you want to go for. You see I've done it, a couple of times now. I have like 3 sort of road marks here. And these are the most successful attempts, essentially. So one of the things is that if you're having trouble getting this, take reference of this sort of angle and you should be able to get it just fine. Okay, cool. And then the last thing you want to go for is that, I would say the most common point of error for me is, one of the errors that I was facing when I was, well there I made it, but when I was first getting this, during the first recordings, was the trick. The trick sort of makes or breaks this. See there, I was too close to the wall, for example, so it's one area where I sort of failed in a way. Let's see if I can get another failure here. Like, the most optimal thing is to hit the wall. You just find it very hard. I'm trying to get a situation where I don't trick properly. But, yeah. So yeah, this is the hardest part. If you're in lobby, I would say go for this, if you have an item already. Because next we're going to talk about what happens after this for lobby. So you go over here, do the trick. That's one way of doing it, I guess. And I'm actually just going to back up here. So oh goodness. So you can get the double item box, but I wouldn't count on it, it's very hard. So if you're in the back, I would just sort of go for the regular cut. Just take the boost panel and go around. If you need a double item box, you're in like 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th. Just take the item box because it's over here. Now, you can get the item box if you're really desperate and you don't have an item and you're front running. That's one thing that you could do if you don't have any protection. It is slow, and you sort of lose the time that you're trying to gain by taking the trick. So it's up to you. Maybe just go for this on lap 2 or lap 3 if you're really front running. Otherwise, you want to just don't trick off of this ramp here. Just drive off, because if you trick, you get too much airtime. Let's see what that looks like. Let's do the trick once more. Hopefully this is sort of good thing. And by the way, here's another attempt where it's like, oh no, I hit the rope. What am I gonna do? Still save time, which is kind of nice. Just don't save as much time. So good, you're over there, you're doing that. Yeah, that's one. Now we're just getting into some more errors, which I'm totally showing on purpose. Please believe me. There went a little too long. So here, again, you want to take a blue sort of thing. Ideally, you want to bump the wall a little bit there. There's not many turbo. So, here in lobby, what I like to do is, I kind of went over this already, but you sort of over here, get a couple tricks, don't fall into that pit. The last thing I want to go over, last couple things, is you want to go on this ramp and do a regular trick. Don't do a down trick, do a regular trick. Once you get the double item box here, that'll give you some speed. Next, we're going to go over pretty much call it the advanced way of getting onto this rail over here. And if you don't learn anything from this video, you want to learn from this. You don't want to approach like that. Okay, just did. Get like too sharp of an angle. You want to get a shallow angle into the actual rail. So take it nice and conservatively, I would say. Just like this. Trick here, trick there, and do it all over again. That just about does it. I think I've gone over everything that I want to go over. I will just sort of give a bonus type of skip here. This is going to be at the very beginning if you happen to mess up the rail detachment here. So let's do this one more time. Oh my gosh, no, I beg pardon. Let's say, oh my gosh, I landed over here, it's all over. Well, it's kind of over there. I'm trying to get a good sort of example, like, if you do this, you can sort of still do this cut. It's a little bit more... I wouldn't say it's more difficult, but you can still pull it off, I want to say. You just sort of drift off of this. I will say it's kind of harder, because you don't want that to happen, essentially. It's harder to get the trick, but you can still salvage it in a way if you do that. So yeah, I just want to apologize for my lack of uploads. ADHD is a silent killer, as they say, and I've been having it bad lately. Otherwise, you know, I'm pretty much gonna release a bunch of these videos in succession. Next one's gonna be on DK Pass, actually. Like 10 videos on DK Pass, so... yeah, like and subscribe for more Mario Kart content. Let me know what you think of this format, and it's gonna be pretty alright. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.